Ever feel like you and your spouse are living parallel lives, like two ships passing in the night, rarely ever meeting, ever connecting, or feel like you're like roommates, barely just talking and interacting, maybe just passing each other and with a casual hi, hello, good morning, and so on. But you want connection. But frustration keeps getting in the way. Whatever it is that may have happened that's led to the frustration and opening the gap in your relationship. Here's the thing. The truth is many couples face similar challenges in their relationships. And today we're going to dive into the top 5 frustrations that many couples experience, and more importantly, how to overcome them and reconnect with your partner on a deeper level. Hey, I'm Kingsley Grant, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and have been doing this for almost 2 decades, working with couples and a spouse here, a spouse there, and couples together, and you name it. I've heard so many different issues being presented in counseling or in coaching. And I have also been married for 38 years. So I have some of those personal experiences along with the professional. So I'm going to unpack with you what it is I've seen over and over again. And these 5 top frustrations are the ones that I've picked out because there are others, but they kind of roll up into these 5. So the first one that I want to share with you is communication breakdown. Now, this one I put on top because it is about 95% of the couples I've worked with. This tend to be where they first start in their presentation. They're talking about they don't communicate, they don't see eye to eye. There are They feel like they're talking over each other, past each other, and never connecting. Have you ever felt that way? Is that true in your own relationship as well? Feeling unheard, misunderstood, stuck in arguments, endless arguments over the same thing, and feel like you're never resolving anything. Again, you're not alone, right? This is a common challenge for many marriages. I have, as I mentioned, been married as of this recording, 38 years and counting. And I've had my share. My wife and I have had our share where we have experienced communication breakdown or challenges. I say one thing, my wife may have heard something else, or she said something and I have heard something else, and we never took time to check in, right? But we ran with what we thought we heard and we behaved accordingly. And of course, it led to another conflict, another issue. So we stack one issue up on the other. And we've had our moments of that. And what happened is a breakdown occurred because, again, like I've just said, we kind of hear what we want to hear, and we never stop to check in. And this is one of the things I teach so often. And I tell couples, you've got to be able to check in to make certain that the message sent is the message received. And the only way that is going to happen is for a checking in to the other person to make sure that the speaker, the sender, has sent the message that the receiver, the listener, actually heard, right? So checking in is a vital and most important way to make sure that the breakdown does not continue to happen. And sometimes what tends to happen is when people are speaking past each other or over each other because they're so wanting to feel as if they don't, then they may not be heard, or they may not have a chance to get their word in. And they want that opportunity. And I get it. I understand that. But sometimes it's where if we put the pause break on and ask the question, what do we really want? What do we really want? And I find sometimes both people want basically the same thing. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to be listened to. They want to be acknowledged. Those are things, right? Would you say? Is that what you want when you are in a communication with your spouse, your partner? I think so. I've heard it so often. So the first thing, first frustration is around communication breakdown. The second frustration I've seen very often is the lack of quality time to spend with each other. And that could look differently for many, many couples, right? But what I've seen is from mostly if your love language happens to be quality time, then of course it's going to be the thing you're advocating for, pushing for, wanting more than anything else. And you can't have enough of that, which is sometimes could be to the detriment of the relationship because the other person that may not be his or her love language. And so they feel like, what about me? What about what I want? But I find quality time is a common denominator. Here is why. Because say, for example, when I work with couples and a husband may say he wants to spend quality time, which he's really simply saying, I want to have intimacy with my wife, and there's never a time for that because the kids may get in the way, the dogs or the pet may get in the way, or the work may get in the way. Everything else is happening. And maybe the wife, or if her or his love language is quality time, they want to spend time just sitting down, watching TV together, just laying together, just being in each other's presence, right? Because that is what they want to happen. And so you may be experiencing this in your relationship where this lack of quality time for whatever reason, right? Whether you're in a hurry, it's a frustration of life. Life happens. Recently, just this past week, I was in church and the pastor was talking about this very idea about Jesus, and he said how Jesus was never in a hurry. He was never in a hurry. He found time for the things that were important to him, right? And he made the comment, which we hear very often, we make time for what's important to us. We find time, we make time for that. And so what the issue might be is maybe that is not as important for a number of reasons. Because again, if there's frustration or any other emotional or negative emotions in the relationship, then of course this is the last thing you may want to do because you have unresolved issues. But this is a point of contention I've seen in many relationships, lack of quality time, and it's a frustration for them. The third frustration is differing expectations. Differing expectations is when you have an expectation and you have imposed that upon the relationship, especially if it was not discussed, if it was not mutually agreed upon. We all have those expectations because we bring into our relationship certain things, right? For example, for me, um, when I saw my dad growing up, watching him and my mom interact, and in a culture, Jamaican culture, which I grew up in, we were kind of taught certain things and certain expectations, roles, expectations, right? What the husband does and what the wife does, and who does what, that kind of thing. And you may have that in your own experience as well. And so I had coming into my marriage certain expectations that this is what I as a husband would do, and this is what my wife as a wife would do, right? So what happened is I had to quickly modify that because I realized that what was true then with my dad and my mom was not necessarily true now. But not only that, I didn't see how that really worked because I saw the disparity. I saw where there were clear way times where I feel my dad could be doing more. But to must say he worked hard. I mean, he was working sometimes 6 days a week. So I understand he was out left early in the morning, come back late at night. So I can understand it was very, very tiring for him. My mom was a school teacher and she would work Monday through Friday. She would leave at a certain time and get back home at a certain time. My dad would leave way before she left for work. and come back way after she got home from work. So there were some expectations that were there and built in that relationship, which we understand. It's understandable that I wouldn't expect my dad to come home and do dishes or to cook, right? Of course, it doesn't happen that way. So it was these expectations were there. However, on weekends, though, if my dad wasn't working, I could see him doing a little bit more or helping out, right? But it wasn't really, I saw a major issue. My mom never complained, and she had, of course, all six of us, and at different stages, we were also helping. So that kind of helped out as well. But these different expectations, one of the things I have taught couples is this: unexpressed expectations leads to frustration, right? Because you are expecting something, but you don't share that, you've not expressed that. You assume that your spouse should know. Because again, you've been together for so long. By now, they should know, right? We may have those expectations, and when things doesn't happen, we get frustrated. And so this is the point of contention many times. The laundry is piling up and it drives you crazy, and your spouse is not making an effort to help in that regards, right? They may not care about it then piling up the way you care about it. So what happened is that these unrealistic expectations, though, can lead to frustration. As I said, imagine if my dad, and getting back to my mom, had, my mom just let the dishes in there and in the sink and say, you know what, when my dad get home, he can wash the dishes because he never cooked. Of course, it's unrealistic. He had a long day, sometimes 8, 10, 12-hour day. So I would not expect my mom. And by the way, she never did that. She never did that. I never saw it happen. So I'm just making that point. So these unrealistic expectations, though, can be a point of frustration. The other area is financial stress. This is a big one. This can be a major frustration for many marriages. As a matter of fact, it is one where, as you may know, this is one of the highest coins parts, frustration that leads to divorce, separation, money. Money woes can put a strain on any marriage. I remember one time in our own marriage that things were so bad financially for us was a stressor. I mean, I really was didn't know what to do, and I tried everything I possibly could. And I know the stress it was on me, which now bled over into the relationship because I became agitated. I wasn't really myself because I'm thinking about, man, what are we gonna do? What does this mean? And all that was going through my mind. It was actually during the COVID time. So you can just imagine what that was. But so many other people is because of spending habits or their relationship with money, where money doesn't stay. It comes in, it goes out, for whatever reason. So if there is not an agreement about finances and how it should be done, the budgeting and so on, financial stress can be a great point of frustration, but not just that. It can also lead many times to divorce because they have not resolved this issue of finances. So I want to say that many times it's really in this moment, I think it's important to get outside help. I think it's important to get the wisdom from other people, who other couples, maybe mentoring or coaching or a financial, financial peace university, where one of the things that I'm so happy that so many churches, including the one we attend, do offer to their congregants financial classes on finances, because they know how this is for many families. And so one of the things that Dave Ramsey, a very familiar name, household name, but he has what's called Financial Peace University. Many church Dave Ramsey, a very churches have embraced that and teach that. And some pastors will take time just to teach about finances and how couples can do what they can do about it. Because this is a major area, and you may be experiencing that, and you know very well what this is all about. And number 5 is feeling unappreciated. Feeling unappreciated. I just recently did a video. You may have watched it. I don't know if you did or not. I would encourage you to do so. But I talk in that video about an unappreciated feeling unappreciated, how this can be taxing on a relationship, and how important this is in couples, in relationships where, I've heard sometimes a husband will say, I feel like I'm just there to provide, but I don't feel appreciated for the effort, the work I'm doing. And then the wife also said, I don't feel appreciated. I feel like there's an expectation, and as if it's what I'm supposed to do. That's my job, my role. And why should I be thanked for it? Why should I be to show appreciation? And I believe that it's very important that this is an issue where everyone wants to know that what they're doing, that they are appreciated. I know for me, my love language happens to be words of affirmation, right? So when I do something like if I cut the lawn and make the yard looking good, I love when my wife said, "Man, honey, the yard looks so good." It's great just driving up and seeing how well manicured the lawn is, and everything is green, and all of that. I love that. That's really, for me, is showing appreciation. Does she have to do that? No. Am I looking for that? Not really, but it's nice. It's one of those ways that I do know that helps to say, she noticed, and vice versa, right? She may do something, and I would say, honey, this food tastes very good. If I cooked, she does the same thing when she does. Um, or I may, I want to be honest sometimes. I'll say, maybe this could use a little bit of this or that. And she would also say the same thing when I do cook as well. So that appreciation is so important in a relationship, right? So we've uncovered the top 5 frustrations so many couples face, right? Feeling unheard, lack of quality time, differing expectations, financial stress, and feeling unappreciated. Which of these 5 so far would you identify more with? I would love to hear from you to say which of them that are more common in your marriage. And even I would love to hear what you have done to get through them, because we all can learn. And I would love to hear what you've done that has helped you, because others can read the comment and learn and see what they can do in their own relationship. So, what have you found helpful? Would you comment below and let us know? I would love to hear your thoughts on this matter as well. Remember, my friend, these are normal challenges for every marriages, in different degrees of that. The great news is, with a few tweaks and some open communication, you can overcome these frustrations. And here's the good news: and build a stronger and happier marriage. And I'm here to attest to that 38 years later and still counting. But how do you get started with better communication? That's the question you may have, because you've tried so many different things. Well, I want to let you know I've got you covered. I've got you covered. Yes, I do. Because you can get a free 28-day conversation starters guide. Simply head over to happiermarriagesecrets.com. Sorry, happiermarriagesecrets.com/start and secure your free copy today. And this guide is designed to help you reconnect with your spouse, have conversations that are non-nuclear. They're very everyday kind of conversation, but the prompts will help you to think of something you may not have thought about, just to have conversation with your spouse about, right? Meaningful conversations that will transform your relationship. So don't wait. I want you to grab your free copy at happiermarriagesecrets.com/start and start building a happier marriage today. The link is also in the description below, so you can have access to that. Hey, before we go any further, my team has notified me that more than 70% of you who are watching this channel is a new user. And I want to say thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate that. If you're finding this channel to be valuable and receiving value from these videos, would you do me a favor and help me reach more people so that they too can find value in this as well? To do so, all you've got to do is hit that subscribe button so that YouTube can generously spread my video to more people. And if you are feeling more generous, you can hit the like button as well. And I would really appreciate that. Now let's get back to where we were in our conversation. So, hey, make sure that you watch this next video right here. where it talks about one of the most important thing I believe every marriage needs and every relationship needs established, and what is what I call an emotional safe space, an emotional safe space where your marriage, you can have these conversations with your spouse in a safe place where there's no judgment zone, no criticism zone, a listening zone, and more. That conversation guide will help you to have the conversation, and this video will help you talk about the the safe space, how to create that safe space and why that's important. So remember now, a happier marriage takes work, but it is absolutely worth it, wouldn't you say? With that said, my friend, I want to say thank you for taking time to listen and to watch. Would you share this with at least one other person and hit that like button if you liked what you've heard in this video? Again, thank you. May God bless you, and I'll see you on the next one.